Every single day, exactly 86,400 seconds are deposited into your biological bank account, and by midnight, every last one of them is gone, never to be recovered, which means that right now, you are either actively building your empire or letting your most valuable currency slip through your fingers like sand. Most people believe that high achievers simply have more discipline, better luck, or fewer obligations, but the reality is that the ultra-successful don't possess more hours in a day. They possess a completely different relationship with time, view energy as their true currency, and master a psychological blueprint that turns ordinary days into extraordinary legacies. If you have ever finished an exhausting 12-hour day feeling like you accomplished absolutely nothing, or if you find yourself constantly drowning in a sea of endless to-do lists while your biggest life goals remain permanently on the back burner, you are not suffering from a lack of time, but from a fundamental misunderstanding of cognitive energy, biological rhythms, and strategic prioritization. Over the course of our extensive deep dive today, we are going to completely dismantle the modern myths of productivity, replace them with clinically backed, neuroscience-based strategies for time mastery, and build a customized 24-hour blueprint that aligns with your brain mechanics so you can finally unlock the success you are fully capable of achieving. To truly understand how to manage your 24 hours for ultimate success, we must first look at the psychological phenomenon known as decision fatigue, which is the deteriorating quality of choices made by an individual after a long session of decision-making. Every single choice you make, from what shirt you wear in the morning to what email you answer first, consumes a finite amount of cognitive glucose, and when you waste this precious resource on trivial, low-value decisions early in the day, you effectively bankrupt your brain before you even touch your most critical tasks. Think of your executive function as a smartphone battery that starts at 100% every morning. If you spend the first 3 hours scrolling through notifications, agonizing over breakfast, and responding to non-urgent messages, you are draining that battery down to 40% before your true creative work even begins. This is precisely why the world's most successful individuals automate their mornings entirely, wearing the same outfit, eating the same nutritious breakfast, and executing a rigid, thoughtless routine that preserves their highest cognitive capital for the heavy lifting tasks that actually move the needle in their careers and lives. This brings us directly into the concept of the circadian rhythm and the optimization of your biological peaks, which is the foundational cornerstone of real productivity that traditional time management completely ignores. Your body operates on a natural 24-hour clock governed by the master pacemaker in your brain, controlling fluctuations in alertness, core body temperature, cortisol, and melatonin throughout the day. For the vast majority of human beings, cognitive sharpness peaks roughly 2 to 4 hours after waking up, which means that if you wake at 6 in the morning, your absolute highest analytical power, problem-solving ability, and strategic focus occur between 8 and 10 in the morning. Shockingly, this is the exact window when most people sit in traffic, scroll through social media, or attend mundane, low-stakes administrative meetings, effectively throwing their brain's golden hours directly into the garbage. To align your day for true success, you must protect this peak cognitive window with fierce intensity. Dedicating it exclusively to deep, uninterrupted creative work, while pushing collaborative, administrative, and reactive tasks into the afternoon when your natural alertness experiences its inevitable biological dip. When we examine the afternoon dip, which typically occurs between 1 and 3 in the afternoon, we see a natural rise in melatonin and a drop in core body temperature that mirrors the biological signals for nighttime sleep. Instead of fighting this natural evolutionary wave with excessive caffeine or sugary snacks that cause an inevitable blood sugar crash, the successful individual learns to ride the wave by transitioning into low cognitive demand tasks, such as clearing out invoices, responding to routine emails, organizing digital files, or engaging in collaborative brainstorming sessions where the social interaction naturally boosts dopamine and keeps drowsiness at bay. Furthermore, understanding the ultradian rhythm, which is a recurrent period or cycle repeated throughout a 24-hour day, reveals that our brains can only sustain high-level focus for roughly 90 to 120 minutes before requiring a short period of rest. When you attempt to force yourself to sit at a desk for 4 hours straight without a break, your efficiency plummets exponentially, your error rate spikes, and you enter a state of pseudo-productivity where you look busy but are actually spinning your wheels. By working in deliberate, highly focused sprints followed by deliberate, systemic breaks where you completely step away from screens, walk around, and hydrate, you allow your brain to replenish its neurotransmitters, ensuring that your next work sprint is just as potent as your first. Now, let us tackle the catastrophic myth of multitasking, a pervasive modern delusion that actively damages your brain's architecture while simultaneously reducing your productivity by up to 40%. Neuroscience has proven definitively that the human brain cannot consciously process two cognitively demanding tasks simultaneously. Instead, what you are actually doing when you multitask is rapid task switching, jumping back and forth between writing an email, checking a notification, and analyzing a spreadsheet. Every single time you switch your attention, your brain suffers from what psychologists call attention residue, meaning a portion of your cognitive focus remains stuck on the previous task, leaving you with less processing power for the new task at hand. This continuous fragmentation of attention not only increases your stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, but it also prevents you from ever entering the state of flow, that magical psychological zone where time disappears, creativity skyrockets, and your output becomes truly world-class. To manage your hours for genuine success, you must embrace single tasking, creating an environment of radical focus where one specific project receives 100% of your cognitive capacity for a predetermined block of time, letting the rest of the world wait in the background. To execute this single tasking lifestyle successfully, you must implement a powerful methodology known as time blocking, which is the practice of planning your day out in specific, dedicated chunks of time rather than working from a chaotic, reactive to-do list. When you work from a standard to-do list, your brain naturally defaults to the path of least resistance, selecting the easiest, most comfortable tasks to complete so you can experience a cheap hit of dopamine from crossing them off, while your most important, intimidating projects get kicked down the road day after day. Time blocking forces you to confront the reality of your 24 hours by assigning every single hour a specific job, transforming your schedule from a wish list into a concrete, strategic roadmap. When you block out 2 hours for deep strategic writing, 1 hour for client communication, and 30 minutes for physical movement, you create psychological boundaries that protect you from distractions, eliminate the friction of deciding what to do next, and give you a clear, objective metric for whether you actually won or lost your day. However, even the most beautifully designed time-blocked schedule will completely fall apart if you do not master the art of establishing radical boundaries and learning the elegant power of saying no to the endless stream of external demands. Every time you say yes to a non-essential meeting, a casual coffee chat that could have been an email, or a favor that drains your energy without aligning with your core values, you are actively saying no to your own health, your own career advancement, and your own family. High-performing individuals understand that their time is a non-renewable resource, and they guard it with an almost religious intensity, requiring any external request to clear an incredibly high bar of relevance and necessity before allowing it onto their calendar. You must develop a polite, professional, yet uncompromising vocabulary for turning down distractions, recognizing that people will respect your time only when they see that you respect your own time enough to protect it fiercely. As we move deeper into the mechanics of the 24-hour cycle, we must address the critical role of environmental design, because human willpower is a notoriously unreliable tool that will eventually fail you when you are tired, stressed, or overwhelmed. If your phone is sitting on your desk within arm's reach, even if it is turned face down or set to silent, your brain is actively expending cognitive energy just to resist the temptation to pick it up, drastically reducing your working memory and analytical performance. Successful time management relies heavily on friction optimization, which means creating immense friction between yourself and bad habits, while removing all friction between yourself and good habits. If you want to focus deeply, you must place your phone in another room, use website blockers to lock out addictive platforms, and clear your physical desk of all clutter, creating a minimalist sanctuary that signals to your neurology that it is time for deep, uncompromised execution. Conversely, if you want to exercise in the morning, lay your workout clothes out the night before right next to your bed, making the path to your desired behavior as seamless and effortless as humanly possible. We cannot talk about managing hours for success without addressing the massive elephant in the room, which is the systemic epidemic of chronic sleep deprivation that plagues our modern corporate culture. Many misguided hustle culture gurus preach the toxic philosophy of sleeping faster or cutting your rest down to 4 or 5 hours a day to get ahead, a practice that is biologically catastrophic and guaranteed to ruin your long-term cognitive capacity. Sleep is not a luxury, nor is it a passive state of inactivity. It is an active, highly sophisticated neurological process during which your brain flushes out metabolic waste, consolidates short-term memories into long-term storage, repairs cellular damage, and resets your emotional equilibrium. When you deprive yourself of adequate sleep, your prefrontal cortex, the seat of logical reasoning, impulse control, and strategic planning, suffers immense functional impairment, meaning that you are effectively trying to navigate your complex life with a severely damaged brain. True success requires prioritizing 7 to 8 hours of high-quality, continuous sleep every single night, treating your bedroom as a sacred sleep sanctuary that is cool, dark, and entirely free of digital devices that emit disruptive blue light. To facilitate this deep, restorative sleep, you must construct a deliberate, calming evening routine that acts as a psychological off-ramp from the high-stress demands of your working day. Just as a massive commercial airplane cannot instantly drop from 30,000 feet to the runway without crashing, your brain cannot transition from high-stakes business emails directly into deep, restorative slow-wave sleep in a matter of minutes. By creating a wind-down ritual during the final 60 to 90 minutes of your evening, where you disconnect from work, dim the ambient lights, engage in light stretching or journaling, and process the emotions of the day, you signal to your autonomic nervous system that it is safe to shift from the sympathetic fight or flight state into the parasympathetic rest and digest state. This evening routine doesn't just guarantee better sleep, it also sets the stage for the next day, allowing you to wake up with natural energy, mental clarity, and an eager readiness to execute your goals without needing to rely on artificial stimulants to drag yourself out of bed. Another vital dimension of managing your 24 hours effectively is the integration of physical movement and nutritional timing, which act as powerful catalysts for sustainable, high-level productivity. Your brain is a highly metabolic organ that consumes roughly 20% of your body's total energy, and its performance is directly tied to the efficiency of your cardiovascular and metabolic systems. Engaging in just 20 to 30 minutes of moderate physical activity early in the day boosts blood flow to the brain, triggers the release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor which enhances neuroplasticity and learning, and elevates your baseline levels of dopamine and serotonin, giving you a natural chemical shield against stress and anxiety. Furthermore, managing what and when you eat prevents the massive blood sugar spikes and subsequent crashes that derail your focus. By consuming nutrient-dense, slow-burning whole foods and avoiding heavy, carbohydrate-laden meals right before your deepest work blocks, you ensure a steady, reliable stream of glucose to your brain, maintaining sharp focus for hours on end. Now, let us examine the concept of the weekly review and preview, which is the overarching strategic framework that keeps your daily 24-hour cycles perfectly aligned with your long-term vision of success. It is entirely possible to become incredibly efficient at managing your daily schedule, checking off dozens of boxes, and moving at lightning speed, only to realize years later that you were running in completely the wrong direction. Every weekend, you must step away from the daily grind to conduct a comprehensive audit of your past week, looking objectively at where your hours actually went, what distractions derailed you, what habits served you, and where you fell short of your commitments. Once you have diagnosed the lessons of the past week, you map out the coming week, identifying your top 3 non-negotiable professional and personal priorities and blocking them into your calendar before the chaotic demands of the outside world can steal that space from you. This practice transforms you from a reactive firefighter, constantly responding to everyone else's emergencies, into a proactive architect of your destiny, ensuring that every single day is a deliberate, conscious step toward the life you want to build. It is also crucial to redefine our cultural understanding of rest, shifting away from passive, mindless consumption like doom scrolling or binge-watching television, and moving toward what psychologists call active recovery. Mindless digital consumption does not actually recharge your brain's cognitive reserves. In fact, due to the constant dopamine spikes and information overload, it often leaves you feeling more fatigued, distracted, and anxious than you were before. Active recovery, on the other hand, involves engaging in hobbies, spending time in nature, reading enriching literature, or connecting deeply with loved ones, activities that completely disengage your work-related neurological networks while providing genuine emotional fulfillment and cognitive rejuvenation. When you schedule active recovery into your 24 hours with the same seriousness that you schedule business meetings, you prevent burnout, sustain your creative enthusiasm over decades, and create a beautiful, harmonious life where professional success does not come at the expense of your personal happiness. As we synthesize everything we have explored today, remember that mastering your time is ultimately about mastering yourself, taking absolute accountability for the choices you make within the boundaries of each day, and refusing to buy into the victim mentality that claims there are never enough hours. Time management is not a restrictive straitjacket designed to drain the joy out of life. Rather, it is the ultimate pathway to true freedom, providing the structured foundation that allows you to excel professionally while fully enjoying your health, your relationships, and your passions. You possess the exact same 24 hours that every great leader, innovator, and history maker has ever had, and the only differentiator is how intentionally you choose to invest those hours. Start small by reclaiming your morning routine, protecting your peak cognitive windows, setting firm boundaries with distractions, prioritizing your sleep, and trusting that the compounding effect of these daily micro-victories will inevitably manifest as massive, undeniable success over time. Managing your 24 hours effectively requires aligning your schedule with your brain's natural circadian rhythms, eliminating cognitive distractions through environmental design, and fiercely protecting your sleep and recovery to maintain peak sustainable energy. By shifting from a reactive mindset to a proactive, time-blocked framework, you transform your daily habits into a powerful engine for long-term professional and personal growth. If you found this information valuable, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and let me know in the comments what topic you want to see next.